As a child, I was always into photography for some reason. I was fascinated by cameras and images, and one of the first cameras I actually remember as a child was this one, and this is a Voigtlander Vito B. And these came out, I think, about 57, 58. I think this is a 59 model, and they were a very popular camera of the time. They were quite an expensive camera. They were made in West Germany. They are beautifully made. This is in a lovely leather case. It undoes here. And one of the nice things about the Vito was the size of it. This is I think this is about a 59 model, because the first models had a very small viewfinder. Now, the larger viewfinders are supposed to be better, but I personally quite like the viewfinder, the smaller viewfinder. I find with my eye it works slightly better. But as I said, these fit in the hand beautifully. I had an uncle with one of these, and I remember him taking photographs of my sister and I, and I might show a result of one of those photos, but I very much remember him using this camera. It has no meter, it has no rangefinder, so you have to, obviously loading the film is slightly strange on these cameras, and I'm just... Actually, I thought I had a film in this. I haven't, so I can demonstrate. You load the film in through the bottom here, right? So that comes off there, and then the back opens. So it's a little bit like an early Leica and a later Leica. So you put in your cassette there, the film over, then close and lock. Now, if you find one of these on the car boot sale or in a camera fair and you try it, like I'm trying this now, it's not working. And you think, oh, that's a non-working camera. It won't work until you put a film in the camera. As soon as you put a film in the camera, it should then take the tension, and it will then set the shutter. So the shutter won't set until you put a film in. A slightly odd thing I always find about these is that you set the counter on the bottom. It's not an automatic setting of the counter when you put a film in. You have to set it to 1, I think. I think it counts from 1, but it might count backwards. Now, so you've got your film in, you've run on a couple of times, you've checked the tension. Always check the tension, because if the film's not properly loaded, you might use a whole film and actually find that you haven't actually loaded the film properly. So check that it's going round when you have loaded. Now, the shutter speed is here, and we've got from 1 second to 300th of a second. So you set the shutter here, and you set the aperture here. You have to press slightly on the side to release, because there is a coupling between the aperture and shutter speed. So once you've set your... So it's a bit dull outside today, but I think it's about 5.6 outside at 1/25th. Once I have set that, if I then decide to up my shutter speed, because it's coupled, it will then take the aperture down to 3.5, but if I go down to 30th, it's actually made the aperture smaller to f11. So that's quite nice if you then want to play about with aperture. And it's a leaf shutter. These are so nicely made that 50 years on from their manufacturer, they still on the whole seem to work extremely well. If you wanted to use a flash, you would have to use one with a cord. There's no hot shoe on here. The later ones are I don't think are you can tell that they're trying to save money on materials, and plastic bodies and things begin to be seen in the Vitos. But these early Vitos are extremely well made, as I said. The lenses vary. This is a colour scoper lens, which is always considered to be a good lens. There are some other lenses as well, all obviously Voigtlander lenses. The setting here refers to the type of flash you might use on the side here. As I said, I enjoy using this camera. There are the drawbacks. Other models began to include rangefinders and light meters, but actually if you've got one without a light meter or rangefinder, you have got less to go wrong, and all of those are mechanical things which can, in later cameras, have issues. I love this little camera. As I said, it just fits well in the lens, in the hand. The lens is high quality. I would really recommend these. Bye for now.